the big question there. But other news coming out, obviously out of Dynamite and out of AEW in general. This one coming from our friends over at Wrestle Purist via the Wrestle Observer newsletter. Kenny Omega's AEW contract would have reportedly expired if it wasn't for the timeout he took due to injury. And as Dave Meltzer has quoted as saying here, Omega's AEW contract was to expire at the end of January. He's in a 4-year deal with no option clause to add time. It starts on February 1st, 2019, which is crazy that's 4 years ago. His contract does allow AEW to extend it for the time he was out injured, which has happened. He was out 9 months, so that will be a maximum of November, but the extended time frame hasn't been finalized as far as how long. I mean, we're going to get into some other stories that's come out by Dave Meltzer today, but I'm surprised this one isn't getting more play. I think that's a massive story. The fact that, remember when this used to happen in WWE? It happened to Rey Mysterio year on year. And we were all kicking off about that and about how wrong it was when he wanted to leave. Obviously, it seems Kenny doesn't want to leave right at this second. But I don't know. Is that a healthy sign, the fact that Kenny's only still there because of that? Like, surely if his real contract was due in January, they would have sorted the deal out by now. What do you read into that? Is it just that both parties trust each other and everything's going to be fine? Or I don't know. My alarm bells are ringing a little bit with this one.
Yeah, so am I. I look at it in the fact that they haven't tried to negotiate with him earlier is like a suggestion of like, okay. I'm kind of almost expecting him to leave. There is the part of me that just kind of, I don't know why. This is the kind of overall vibe that I'm kind of getting, because I'm thinking if he was really happy, he would have signed. Obviously, we had Brawl out. We've had the point where, is he going to want to go back and do a bit of Japan? Like, as Connor mentions there in the chat, is he going to be going back to New Japan? Like, you're kind of waiting on things like that. I don't know. It doesn't suggest a kind of good, solid relationship. But then there would have been a point in time where I would have been kind of worried about the company without having Kenny Omega there. But I don't know. I don't necessarily. I think, I don't know. Maybe I'll hear people say about like the heart of All Elite, and if you're letting him go, and the involvement he's got in the video game side as well. But there's something about that, and the fact we haven't had a release date on that. And it kind of, I don't know, there are those little whispers that suggest that Kenny's not particularly enjoyed that part of the experience. So maybe he's just not enjoying being there overall.
Yeah. And like you say, with the video game as well, where he's like trying to, that's the story, isn't it? That he's trying to add little mini games and stuff like that. So he's busy doing that. Rather than just put a real game out.
Oh, it's baseball and stuff like that. And it's like casino stuff. And it's just like, fuck's sakes, mate. Stop. It's not Yakuza. Calm the fuck down. It's a wrestling game.
There's a few things there, Andy says here maybe they're trying to resign him just as talent and on the vice president bollocks.
Good thing to do.
Out, on the Mercedes vlog, and you are right there, Connor. He did, talk about his heart being in Japan. That's something to pay attention to, and like that again, that gotten to feel an interview he did on it was on Swerve City, wasn't it, on Swerve Strickland's podcast, where he's talking about not doing blood feuds right now. He's in a position where he's doing 6-man tags, and he's very happy with that rather than doing epic storyline encounters, as he says there. Like, there's something to that. He does feel like somebody who's in stasis right now, and like I don't think it's
feels like somebody's checked out.
Yeah, or is Tony Khan checked out of booking them? Like, is this conspiracy theory from the CM Punk pan on the podcast, JP? Is this all just Kenny disappears, the books go? At that point, what's the problem with bringing Punk back, mate? By the time Punk's ready, Kenny might be gone, or on his way out. There could be. I mean, it'd be weird AEW without the Elite. Like, that is,
it'd be weird.
That would be extremely strange, but not implausible. And there's just these little signs right now that maybe things aren't totally rosy.
And I think it's just been proven that, like, very early on, the role of the EVPs were not as essential. And I think a lot of the EVPs, like, are frankly, if we're talking about like on the merchandising side, where like I want to say it's Nick Jackson's wife, who kind of heads up that. judging from what you've said and what we've heard on reports, like they've kind of shit the bed.
Did you listen to the Torch livecast like yesterday? They had a caller and he was literally like, I went to the show and there was one table, like, and there was no Bryan Danielson merchandise. I was like, yep, that checks out. I'll ask Steph next week. She's in California, so she'll be able to give us the update on that. But I'm pretty sure it's still the same.
There are things about them as a company they need to grow. And I think they kind of, let's face it, they've grown past the elite for what they are. They've set themselves up as a viable number 2. It doesn't feel like we didn't have Omega and the Bucks this week on it. And it was a pretty like low, like they've not meant anything like the ratings wise. And I know we take all of that with a pinch of salt, but they've not boosted ratings. I think you could safely say that. They're not involved in anything kind of meaningful, probably costing an absolute packet. And let's face it, they've probably got too much control over their own storylines. And that's the real issue with them. It's like, no, you're going to work a proper feud with the Acclaimed. That's the feud you're going to be doing. They get the tag team titles back, and we're going to have a proper feud with them. And Omega, we're going to get Kenny Omega. You know, those things that
look at the state of that tag division without them, mate. Look at that battle royal this week and what's left. You know, Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal winning that battle royal is a good decision. Shouldn't be. It shouldn't be without Stack. Remember when as AEW boosters, because we used to be the Positive AEW podcast, and I feel like I brought that back a little bit over Christmas. But like, remember when that was the thing? Oh, AEW's tag division shits all over WWE, does it? Does it right now when everything's split off into the 6 bands as well? You know, does it really?
There's a complete lack of focus on it, isn't it? Again, like I mean, it's the tag division. It tends to be one feud. That's what the tag division is. Rather like the women's division tends to be, it's a feud involving the champion. It's just that this time the feud involves the champion and it's several people. But it's not like multiple feuds or multiple stories. I'm not going to bang on about that again this week. So.
That's JP. That's Red Flag to a Bull. Yeah,
it is.
Division with JP, but
storytelling and wrestling.
Story to keep an eye on. Like I keep saying to you, and I really hope after this Revolution run, we get the House of Black thing out the way and they have something to sink their teeth into. But if they don't, more of these questions are going to come, especially if it takes them much longer to sign up Kenny. Be very interested to get an update on the books. I'm with Simon, by the way, who says he probably should have been their EVP title should have been taken after Brawl Out. I'm with him on that one, but yeah, odd one right now. But yeah, I suppose just to move on to some other quick headlines before we get into the previews and the TV reports as well from this week, as well as some observer baiting, which we're definitely going to have to do. Quickly, it was reported that WWE Senior VP of Talent Operations and Strategy was fired last week. James Kimball is the name. I saw your good mate Filthy Tom Lawler asking about that on Twitter today. Is he the same guy from UFC? Yes, he is. High ranking WWE executive, as it's noted here by Sean Ross Sapp, who did used to work for the UFC, was in charge of the company's Next in Line program and the various tryouts with college athletes. And the only thing we know about this right now is that it was a HR violation, which you know, if your name isn't Vince or doesn't end in McMahon, then you know any HR violations right now are probably going to lead to you going out the door. But yeah, so it was worth noting. I guess we might see if we get more detail on that one. We also had today an update on our good friend Mercedes Moné's upcoming opponents in New Japan and Stardom. Dave Meltzer said in the Observer today the next 2 opponents are expected to be Azumi. Did I get that right? I read the daily update.
Good lad.
Sakura Genesis and Mayu Iwatani. At Stardom's April 23rd show from the Yokohama Arena. So yeah, keeping her busy at least on the Japan side. And the other big thing coming out of the Observer today, before we do get to the TV reports and previews that I had to throw at you, JP, was we're in Observer Award season. Have you observed the meltdown on Twitter today over this, mate? Apparently, the Observer Awards don't matter. Hence why, you know, half of the people on Twitter who say they don't matter have spent their entire day talking about them. I think that means they matter. But yeah, I don't know if have you had the chance to have a look at through these.
I haven't really. No.
Notable ones here: John Moxley won Wrestler of the Year. He was a big shout in R1. Will Ospreay won the Most Outstanding Wrestler, which is just the in-ring side. Enjoyed that Danielson, Okada, and John Moxley were joined by Speedball Mike Bailey in the top 5 from the Observer readers. FTR won Tag Team of the Year. MJF won Best on Interviews. The bit that's caused some controversy is that Promotion of the Year was AEW. Weekly TV Show of the Year was AEW. I'm scrolling down. There's more awards further down. Promoter of the Year was Tony Khan. Booker of the Year was also Tony Khan. And some, I don't know, not Matty, but some other hardcore WWE types not happy. Did they get a couple? Roman Reigns winning Best Box Office Draw in there. Surprised to not see the Bloodline included in Feud of the Year, although I suppose most of that happened in 2023, didn't it? The Bloodline and Sammy, so maybe that explains it there. But overall, it's a bit of a, go down to most charismatic, MJF. Bryan Danielson won the Bryan Danielson Award, which insert joke here about that one. Moxley won Best Brawler. I mean, it was the AEW Awards this year, JP, apart from Roman getting the Box Office Draw Award. A lot of the negative
Bron
awards.
Breakker got Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, won Rookie of the Year.
Which is actually quite scandalous, really.
Bollocks that. Logan Paul's right there. Logan Paul.
Disgraceful. Logan Paul.
Logan Paul did well with the Steiners, and he's this good already. I think I'd 100% give him that. But did any of those jump out to you? I agree with the most overrated being Ronda Rousey. That tends to mean more most overpushed, doesn't it? Don't like that name, CM Punk being in that list as well. But yeah, mostly there's your boy Bron Breakker. Paul Heyman did win Best Non-Wrestler, but yeah, very much a Tony Khan victory lap, which I expect to see on Twitter at some point this evening.
It's the film fan in me. There was a point in time I really cared about the Oscars. Now I'm kind of like, I enjoy watching the kind of almost like the collective kind of outrage, and it's the same very much with the Observer Newsletter Awards. I would have to disagree on Promotion of the Year, but it's again, you're working out who's voting for it. Like it's people. Majority of people won't have seen Stardom for it as well, and it doesn't take into account really, I suppose, WWE halting the creative decline it was in with Vince. Like that's really what you would say, if anything, that the Triple H period has done and delivered some good bigger shows. I don't know if it's enough to say, like, you've watched SmackDown. Like, if Dynamite isn't going to win for best TV program, then what is? And I would say this as being very critical of it, but tell me the weekly TV show that's generally putting on matches and storylines and stuff like that better than Dynamite.
Even with all the criticism, which we will give it.
All of the criticisms. Because if that's there, like, what the fuck is Raw? Is suddenly better? SmackDown? It's like, I don't buy that kind of stuff.
No.
So I don't really see it.
SmackDown's quite high up there, isn't it? The fact that, like you say, that it is second. I think it's just because it's short. Like, obviously, there's going to be no shout for Raw there. To be fair, to your point about Stardom, did get a lot of votes in second place for Promotion of the Year. I get for a company the size of Stardom, that's a win coming second, isn't it? And again, just to point out, these are reader voted. These aren't just Dave Meltzer picking as winners, as I think some wrongly think these awards are.
Which I think the thing with Stardom is now, this links back to the earlier story. How much does Mercedes Moné, how much is that going to mean? How much is that going to mean for the kind of growth of Stardom? Is that going to end up doing anything really in there as well? And a couple of good matches, I'd say as well, coming up on that. So I look forward to seeing them.
I was going to say, I mean, your JP's favorite award is in there. As always, we are shocked to see Vince McMahon dominating the most disgusting tactic award there, JP. Number one was Vince McMahon appears on TV after sexual misconduct allegations. Number two was the WWE Saudi Arabia relationship. Number three was Ric Flair's last match. I suppose that is pretty disgusting, promotional. I suppose the promotional, promoting someone who might die in the ring. I can see the argument.
In wrestling terms, it's heartfelt, isn't it? We go back to Fritz, don't we? Faking the heart attack.
Number four is Steph's goodbye to Vince. So there's Vince again. And number five is AEW not punishing CM Punk after the Adam Page call out. That is a point in it. That thread kind of was left dangling on him.
It's a point.
Still got stats, but,
there's a runaway winner. I mean, I'd like to think of him renaming this award the Fritz Von Erich / Vince McMahon most disgusting promotional tactics for the two pioneers of that category. In there.
He also won Worst Match of the Year as well against Pat McAfee from Mania. That was rough.
That was rough.
Yeah.
I don't really think of anything that I could really massively disagree with on here. I'll take the readers' viewpoint that the Miz versus Dexter Lumis is the worst feud of the year, but I was a bit surprised actually the WWE won worst promotion. Like of the other ones that are below them, NWA 2, Control Your Narrative 3. Like, I mean, I would handily say NWA.
Yeah, it's one of them. It's the size of it, and considering like what they could be, I don't know. I think the second half of the year for WWE was pretty, by their standards, pretty harmless. Considering the free falling quality we had over the last few years, so I could imagine they're probably not going to win that next year. But we'll see. That's the thing. I do actually, one thing I do agree with, like the WWE fans who are very mad online about all of this, is that, you know, the Observer readers are going to be, you know, wrestling fans with a certain taste. They're going to be wrestling fans with taste. Let's all be honest. They're going to be the hardcore like us, who are going to gravitate to AEW and New Japan, and they are going to, you know, not necessarily like the WWE product, but when it's deserved, it's deserved. I would say as well. That's the thing about it, you know, and where credit is deserved, it is given. You know, Sami Zayn winning best gimmick. Maximum Male Model's got worst gimmick. I feel like Bray Wyatt would have been a shoe-in for that one.
Uncle Howdy, number two.
Like him and Bray split the vote there, didn't they? I feel like if they'd have been one category, they'd have won that one.
I'm glad Kip Sabian got a shout out there. I would have to say in the documentary category as well. I was quite glad the Lawler Kaufman one because you'd watched that as well. I'd finished watching it after we'd recorded on it. It was very good, much better than the incredibly bleak number 2 place, which was the Teddy Hart one, which was geez, I just felt like I needed a wash after that.
That's it. But anyway, that's the news notes coming out of the Observer this week. But obviously, plenty going on in the wrestling world. JP, I know I did the daily update this morning, but I left the path clear for you to give us our updates from the wrestling TV last night. What did we miss, JP? If we didn't sit ourselves down in front of MLW and a roasting fire last night?
Exactly. You know, they're the things that you know we should be seeing. We'll start off